What's good, everybody? Before we get started with the episode, go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, go ahead and give me 5 stars. All right, let's get to the show. Yo, welcome back to the Take Your Pick podcast. Hope everybody is doing well. Your boy just came back from a little vacay. Went out to Texas. Took the fam. Went to go see mom. Spent the whole week at mom's house. It was great. Great food. If you've never been to San Antonio, I strongly advise that you do, especially if you want good, authentic Mexican food. You can't beat it. Top tier food. Charles Barkley likes to talk about the women down there, but he understands because he's had the churros. It was a great time. The kids love being there. Got to experience a lot of new things. It's great. It was great getting the family out. Then we came back. Got to celebrate Father's Day. You see the hat? I know you see the hat, the Dad Gang hat. I'm repping the Dad Gang now. I hope all you fathers out there, hope all of you had a good Father's Day. Hope you got all the gifts that you wanted. You know, one thing that's crazy about Father's Day, though, is that on Father's Day, when you get, your gifts and stuff, it's always gifts that make you work harder, right? So, for example, Father's Day gift, you get a grill. You say, oh, thanks, babe. But this grill comes in only for you to now have to make more food. Oh, how about this? You get a drill set. Oh, this is cool. Now I have to do more work around the house. See, that's what happens when you get these Father's Day gifts. But regardless, I had a good Father's Day. My kids and my wife made me feel so appreciated, so special. It was a good one. I'm looking forward to many more Father's Days to come. But you know what? We are not here to talk about that right now. You see the topics below. We got the Bradley Beal trade. CP3 is gone out of Phoenix. I don't think he'll stay in Washington very long, but we're going to try to figure out some good landing spots for CP3. And then finally, we had the Ja Morant suspension that finally came down. They laid the hammer down on Ja. But anyway, back to Bradley Beal, right? So Bradley Beal, after all these years of saying he was never going to run from the grind, never going to want to get traded, going to be in DC forever. Well, the time has come for him to finally smell the roses and realize this ain't it. I got to get out of here. Send me to a contender. Because the Wizards told him that they are in rebuild mode now. So, and anyone can go. But Bradley Beal, of course, because he was a homer. He dedicated his entire career to that organization. They honored his no trade clause, and he had the pick of the litter. Now, for the longest time, it was between Miami and Phoenix. And ultimately, he ended up choosing Phoenix. And, they only had to give up CP3 and Landry Shamet and some second round picks to get Bradley Beal. Wow. I'm trying to figure out how they finesse the Suns out of that. But here's the thing too, right? Because when that trade happened, it's not that we were surprised that it happened, but a lot of people wanted to say that the Suns are now the favorites. I don't see it. I mean, yes, you are very top heavy. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, now Bradley Beal, DeAndre Ayton when he decides to show up, if he decides to show up, because you cannot forget that he still was not happy in Phoenix. Now, I don't know now that CP3 is gone, if that changes anything, if he's going to want to play hard now, or if he's still going to request a trade, because I know teams are still monitoring that situation. But regardless, They're very top heavy. They don't have a real point guard now. CP3 is gone. They have to rely on what's old dude's name? Campaign. They have to rely on Campaign now to be their starting point guard. And if Campaign is going to be your starting point guard, that is not a recipe for success. We saw what happened in Game 6 against Denver. Campaign was your leading scorer with like 20-something points, and you got blown out. I'm just saying. So, Phoenix has no bench whatsoever. They're going to have to rely on the draft or hopefully trying to sign a bunch of vets to a vet minimum. But we see how well that worked out for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden when they all linked up in Brooklyn. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. And now Kevin Durant's in the same situation again. I personally don't think that this Phoenix Suns team is going to be that great. Yes, offensively, they're going to be fun to watch. Your three best players can get you about 70, 80 points, right? But if you're not getting nothing from your bench, or if DeAndre Ayton decides, okay, you know what, I ain't got it tonight. Oh, I'm going up against Giannis. Yeah, y'all got it. What? Joker's coming to town? I'm not feeling it tonight. Embiid? Forget about it. If you don't get production out of Ayton, it doesn't matter. But say you do. Say you do. Your bench, trash. And I honestly don't think that this Suns team, honestly, the way that it's currently constructed, I don't think they can compete in the West. I don't. I mean, you're going up against Denver, who's just coming off a championship, right? Argument the best team in the NBA right now, the most complete team in the NBA. They're not beating them. All right. I don't know if they're beating a fully healthy Lakers squad. And you know how I feel about the Lakers. Okay. They're not better than the Grizzlies. They're not. I don't think they're better than the Clippers as they're currently constructed. So this Suns team on paper looks phenomenal. I think it's going to be an extremely overrated team. Now, I will say this, though. They will be a team that's going to be playing better defense because they got Frank Vogel over there. So Frank Vogel, you know, he's a defensive-minded coach. That's what he likes to really focus on. It worked out well for them in 2020 in the bubble. They played great defense that entire playoffs, and, hey, they got a championship out of it. Now, not much to be said for the following year because I think they missed the playoffs or something. I don't know. There's a lot that can be put on AD, but regardless, this team will play. Defense. They will score a lot. Okay, that is for sure. They will score a lot. Well, but one player can afford to have an off night, and you can rely on your other two guys to still be able to go out there. And someone's going to be able to get 30. But this bench, man, the lack of depth with this squad is going to get them beat a lot. That's what's just going to happen. And Kevin Durant's getting up there too, man. Kevin Durant's getting up there. He's become injury prone at this part of his career. He's not going to give you a full 82. Most players aren't, but he's definitely not. He might give you 50. If he's not going to slip in warm-ups and roll his ankle again. He might give you 50 games. But he also can't give you that many games if you're going to end up playing him, 38, 39 minutes a game. That's just not going to cut it for Kevin Durant. So if you run him into the ground, getting to the playoffs, you guys might just get beat in the first round again. You just might. I could see it happening. Another team they may not be better than is the Mavericks. Because, the Mavericks, yes, they're going to keep Luka. They got rid of Christian Wood, whatever. He wasn't doing anything for him anyway. They are adamant on keeping Kyrie. I think news came out today that there's no market for Kyrie Irving, and the Mavericks are really his only option. I don't think he wanted to leave anyway. I think he did want LeBron to come there, but I don't see him leaving Dallas. And I think they're going to figure it out. I think Dallas is going to make some moves to keep Luka happy and to make them more competitive. So I don't think this Phoenix Suns team is going to end up being better than them. I don't see it. I don't see it. But again, it was a big pickup for them. The first blockbuster trade of the offseason. And man, we might have a couple more coming our way. We got Zach LaVine potentially on the move. But they said they want a lot for him. Of course you do. He's a very talented player. And if you trade him, you are in full rebuild mode, I believe. But then we also got Zion. Zion's out here clapping porn star cheeks, getting another one pregnant. Then news comes out that he has like no real relationship with the Pelicans organization or his teammates. Zion needs a fresh start somewhere else. I think his time in New Orleans has come to an end. There's going to be a lot of landing spots for him too. People were saying that he should go to Charlotte to play with LaMelo. That would be fun to watch. That would be fun to watch. I mean, you saw the lobs that he was getting from Lonzo. Imagine what LaMelo would be doing with him. And also, we would fill in that spot of Miles Bridges, who's gone and who probably will never be in the NBA again, right? So that could be another big blockbuster trade. This offseason is off to a great start. But yes, the Phoenix Suns have traded CP3 to the Wizards, and we'll cover that right after this. This episode is sponsored by absolutely no one, but what you can do is go ahead and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, go ahead and give me 5 stars. All right, back to the show. Okay, so Chris Paul is now with the Wizards. And we all expect him to be bought out or at least never play for them. But as soon as I decided to have that thought, word comes out that the Wizards are in no rush to move Chris Paul, or at least they're in no rush to buy him out. Unless, they can get some suitable trade options, because they're not just going to let him walk for nothing. They're just not, okay? Even though they are in their rebuild mode, yeah, they would be wise to not let him walk for nothing. This reminds me of when Chris Paul went to the Thunder. They sent him there for his career to end, only for him to lead them to the playoffs. And then that ended up getting him, what was it, was it Houston? Was it to Houston at that point? Or was that to how he got to Phoenix? Regardless. So CP3, can he do it again? Can he take a team with zero or at least very low expectations and somehow manage to get them into a playoff spot? Like, what if that really happens? Like, that is what his career will be known for, because he won't win any rings. All right, that ship has sailed. His best opportunity to get that was in the Lob City days, and then that year against Giannis in Milwaukee. That was it. His championship run is gone. So it's unfortunate because we all wanted to see CP3 get a ring, but now everyone's calling him CP0 for obvious reasons. But yeah, so now he's in Washington. But if he were to get traded, I mean, there are a couple landing spots that I could see him being a very useful player. He could be a player that can get some teams over the hump, right? So the first team that comes to mind is Boston. Boston is missing like an actual point guard, right? I mean, in the Tatum and Brown era, they've had some good point guards, but they haven't had like a pass first point guard. They've had scoring guards as their point guard, right? They had Kyrie, and we all know how that panned out, right? It was not very good. Actually, they ended up winning more games in the playoffs once Kyrie Irving was hurt, which ultimately ended up with him going to Brooklyn. So then they get Kemba Walker And that was just painful to watch. He was not very good for them. Then they got Dennis Schroeder, who, they only got him because he turned down that $84 million extension with the Lakers to bet on himself, and that was a losing bet. And then he goes to Boston, and he doesn't play that well. And then he ends up back with the Lakers, right? So not to forget, yeah, they had IT a couple years ago, but I don't know if that wasn't part of the Brown Tatum era. So anyway, they these past couple of years, they have not had a good string of point guards that are going to get them over the hump. Even though Kyrie Irving was probably the best out of that bunch, they have not had that point guard. And I think Chris Paul could get them over the hump. I think he could be the guy that could coordinate the entire offense. He's a genius of a point guard. He's not somebody who needs to go out there and try to score his 20, 30 points like the other point guards that I listed, except for Schroeder. Schroeder will never be that guy, but he likes to shoot the ball a lot, but he doesn't score a lot. But anyway, Chris Paul would be the exact type of point guard that they need to get, Brown and Tatum good looks. Robert Williams would feast off of that. Nothing but lobs for him. He would be a great fit for that team. And, because you could have CP3 at the point, Marcus Smart maybe at the 2, maybe he'd come off the bench. I don't know. But say he's at the 2, then you got Tatum and Brown at the 3 and 4. They'd be kind of small. They'd be kind of small as a starting lineup. But I still think he'd be a great fit for that squad. All right, so another team, and this has been floating around, but another team would be the Clippers, reuniting with the Clippers. Right, so they just got Russell Westbrook, and they look good with Russ at the helm. I don't think you have to get rid of Russ to get him, though. I don't think you really have to, especially because I don't think the Wizards are really going to be looking for a lot of win-now veterans. Because, again, they're trying to rebuild. I think they're more so trying to get picks for Chris Paul. I don't know if the Clippers have any. I don't have all that information in front of me right now, but I wouldn't mind seeing him back with the Clippers. Now, he would not be your starting point guard. I still think that's Russell Westbrook right now. He looked great with Paul George and Kawhi. They let Russ be Russ. He didn't have to worry about the turmoil and the toxicity that he was getting with the Lakers. With the Clippers, it was a lot different, a lot more free-flowing, a lot less scrutiny. So I think Chris Paul going back there, he would be great. I mean, I don't think they have anybody coming off the bench. I think they got Bones Highland as their backup point guard. And look, Bones Highland is fun to watch, but he is not what I would consider a top-tier point guard. I think even at Chris Paul's age, he is still a better point guard than Bones Highland. And the Clippers having Chris Paul coming off the bench, that is not a bad point guard to come off the bench to help elevate your squad. Another team that could use Chris Paul's services, the team that has a championship window still, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks with Chris Paul as their point guard. They would be really good. I mean, really good. And you don't even have to start him. You could still keep Drew Holiday at the 1, or you could have, Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Lopez. Wow. Just saying that team would be tough to beat. That would be a tough squad. Chris Paul and Giannis pick and roll would probably be the most unguardable thing in the NBA. For sure. Chris Paul come off the pick and roll. You're going to have to try to stop that mid-range. You're not going to stop Giannis from rolling. Giannis is going to average 40 dunks a game. Giannis will average 40 dunks a game. Okay? Whatever. But that would be unstoppable. Then you got Chris Middleton, who can get whatever shot he wants coming off a feed from Chris Paul. Brook Lopez, he doesn't want to be in the paint. He wants to stand outside and shoot threes, but Chris Paul's going to get him open. Chris Paul and Brook Lopez pick and pop. That's going to be unguardable too. If I am the Bucks, I try to get Chris Paul ASAP. I don't know who you got to give up. I'm sure they'll figure that out. You know, it also doesn't hurt to have a veteran point guard like that because you guys just like fired your head coach. You just replaced Bud. And getting a veteran point guard like that who can adapt to any system, help run your offense. Yeah, you don't want to pass up on somebody like that, man. You don't want to. And then let's see. Let's think of one more team that could use Chris Paul services. I mean, Miami Heat could use Chris Paul services, but Miami Heat is not going after Chris Paul. Miami Heat is going after Dame because Bradley Beal is no longer on the table. So Dame is our guy. We are going all in on Damian Lillard. I don't want to hear about the Miami Heat going after anybody else but that. Trade who you got to trade to get him. Hero, Oladipo, Strus, they all can go. Give me Dame. And then we got to find a big man. Why we need to call Boogie Cousins. He's not going to command a lot of money. And he wants an opportunity. And you can't tell me that Boogie Cousins in the Heat culture, come on, man. We're right back in the finals if we get that. If we get those two, because I think Boogie Cousins still has a lot to offer. All right, you see him dominated at Puerto Rico. I don't know if that's saying a lot, but he's showing he still got some game. You get him or Dwight, preferably Boogie Cousins, but I would take either one of them. With Dame, Bam, Jimmy. Now, would I like to keep Tyler Hero? Yes, I would like to keep Tyler Hero, but we did make it all the way to the finals without him. Not saying that he's not a great player, but he ain't Dame. So, Miami Heat, I expect them to figure that out, but I would not mind having Chris Paul as our point guard either. I mean, yes, we have Gabe Benson. Gabe Benson, he proved himself this year to be a starting point guard in this league, and I don't mind having him as our starting point guard in Miami. I don't mind it at all. Chris Paul can come off the bench. You know, we have Lowry. We do. And we appreciate Lowry's services. We do. I don't know, man. It'd be tough. But I no way I'd be against having Chris Paul in Miami. But we'll see what happens with him. We'll see what the Wizards decide to actually do. If they're going to stick to their guns about this whole rebuild thing. Or if they're going to try to find some way to keep some vets on the squad and just figure it out without Bradley Beal. I don't know. But let's go ahead and talk about Ja Morant. So Ja Morant has been handed down his suspension. We had to wait for Adam Silver to hand down this suspension. My man was going on a tour talking about this suspension. Every time he was on TV, he would say, "It's coming. We're going to wait until after the finals. You know, we are still discussing it." Anytime you saw him on TV with a microphone in his hand, he was talking about Ja Morant's suspension. Well, the finals are finally over. Denver finally won their championship. Miami Heat got exposed. And now we got Ja Morant's suspension. Ja Morant has been suspended for 25 games. All because he wanted to be a gangster.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Now, what's even more wild is that his PR team has been working overtime since this announcement came out. Right. So first we had his apology letter, whatever. I don't know if this one was written by ChatGPT or if he had an actual like PR person write this, because we know Ja didn't write it. We all know he did. You know, I got to be better for the youth. People look up to me and whatever. Yeah, he didn't write that, but he's going to be suspended for 25 games. Some people don't agree that was long enough. Some people think that was too hefty. I think the Players Association, they are looking to combat that. They think that was too harsh. I don't think so, though. I think the reason why he got this 25 game suspension is because Adam Silver was hurt. He felt lied to. Remember when Ja went in front of Jalen Rose and was talking about, I got to be better. That's not me. That's not the real Ja. the gun wasn't mine, all that stuff. And then he had to sit down with Adam Silver, and they had their one-on-one, and he had that 8-game suspension. He went on vacation for a little bit. Right, I think that was more so like the slap on the wrist, kind of like, oh, don't do it again. But Adam Silver came down this time like a disappointed father. He wasn't mad. He wasn't angry. Just disappointed. And so he had to lay the hammer down. 25-game suspension. But yes, Ja Morant's team has been working overtime. They came out with another video of him on Instagram Live. I don't know how old this video is, but Ja Morant's out here with the toy gun, as he tried to claim it was his toy gun. He had a video of him lighting candles with this toy gun. Apparently the gun was a lighter. So I guess that's how they're trying to fix this whole situation by saying, oh, it was a toy gun. It was a lighter. Look, see, doesn't matter. 25-game suspension. I don't expect Adam Silver to walk this back at all. At all. You earned it. You play stupid games. You win stupid prizes. Now, I remember I mentioned earlier CP3's landing spots, and some people are thinking that CP3 should go to the Grizzlies to fill in that gap while Ja Morant is suspended. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think that'd be respectful to CP3. Because think about it. Ja Morant, yeah, sure, he's going to be gone. But you got Tyus Jones there already, and Tyus Jones is a very valuable point guard in the NBA. And on this Grizzlies team, he is an outstanding point guard for them, right? Now, say you bring CP3 there to come play behind him. Because, trust me, Tyus Jones is starting for the Grizzlies. So, yeah, say you bring CP3 there, right, to play behind him for these 25 games, and CP3 starts to get a little bit of a rhythm, whatever. Well, then Ja Witt comes back, right? He comes back after that suspension. CP3's minutes are going out the window. He's going to start getting DNPs. He's going to end up on the injury report, probably for another hamstring injury, whatever. That's where his career goes to die. And I don't think the Grizzlies are going to do that to him. If I am Chris Paul, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to go to Memphis. I don't want to. But yeah, Ja Morant's been suspended. Let's see how the Grizzlies look 25 games in. Right? Because you still had Brandon Clark, did he tear an ACL or an Achilles? So, that's like a year recovery. So you're still missing a big man. Steven Adams will be back. Desmond Bane, I expect to be better. You got rid of Dylan Brooks. So there's that. That's an upgrade. No matter how you look at it, that is an upgrade for your squad because, yes, he played defense, but no, he couldn't score. He was a horrible shot taker and even worse shot maker. So let's see what they can do in the draft. Maybe they can find themselves another veteran type guard who can play a little bit of defense but can shoot the ball a little better. They need like a Jeff Green type player. I think every team in the NBA needs a Jeff Green. They need a Jeff Green. He has been good and valuable on every team he's been on, and he was valuable for this Denver squad that just won a championship. They need a player like that, a guy who's going to go out there. He can play some D, give you some good quality minutes. He only needs to take a couple shots a game. He'll get some rebounds. That's the kind of player the Grizzlies need right now. Especially because, like I said, Ja Morant's going to be out. They are going to need a lot from Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane and Triple J are going to have to be all-star caliber players this first quarter of the season. Let's see if they can get it done. But this is a big blow to the Grizzlies, but not unexpected. But hey, man, that's going to do it for me. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. And if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, don't forget to give me 5 stars. All right, everybody, I'll catch you on the next one.